Good evening and welcome along to Monday's Cardiff City phone-in. Steve's away, so the mice will play. I'm in the chair tonight. Top right, Mr. Steve Thomas. Good evening, Steve.
Good evening, Steve. Good evening, everyone.
Nice to have you back on, Steve. Thanks for coming on. Bottom left, Mr. Jonathan Wilkins. Hello, John. Nice to have you back on as well.
Hi, Steve.
Yeah, all good, mate. Making his debut on the Cardiff City phone-in, and it's great because this is an international debut as well. Mr. Mark Blackmore. Good evening, Mark.
Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Good evening from a very rainy Italy.
Yeah. And you were saying there's a bit of a storm over at the moment. So
it is, yeah. I checked the forecast, got here today, and it's dreadful. So I'm really glad I'm here now.
Yeah, and just to confirm, you're over there for the new James Bond role, which is... So we got a bit of an exclusive on the phone-in tonight, haven't we?
Yeah, I wish it was. I wish I was scouting for the city, which made me wonder. I can't remember if we've ever had an Italian footballer, but somebody will tell us, I'm sure.
Ooh, Steve, you know that? Any Italian footballers?
Didn't we have a couple when we were in the fourth division?
Ferretti?
Yes.
Was Ferretti Italian?
Yes.
Yes. You know,
there we are.
Ferretti.
I'll grab him. Tell me where he is. I'll go and find him.
Right. It was a nice, light-hearted start to the show, but we better start at the top, I suppose. We'll work our way backwards and start with the Sunderland game on the weekend. Unfortunately, we lost the game in the end, 2-1, as we all know. I know Steve and Jonathan were up there. We'll kick off with you, Steve. Your thoughts on the game? Personally, I thought, well, you don't want to hear what I was shouting at my telly when we started playing out from the back and conceded that first goal. But the air was a bit blue in Barry Bados, and I'm sure it was in the stands. And you were up in the gods, of course, up in Sunderland. So,
and for those of you who have not been to Sunderland, you go up, I think, 12 flights of stairs, and on every landing there's a joke on the wall. So if you can stop yourself laughing. The first one is the floor's painted red, and it says there's more red on the Vinnie Jones saw more red than is on the floor here. So that's the kind of standard you had as you were walking up to the top of the stand. I think we made it to a minute and 15 seconds before we conceded the first goal on Saturday. And again, like you, I could see Sunderland were pressing us high, and I thought it's dangerous to start playing out from the back. We tried to play out from the back, goal down. As I said before we went on air as well, it seems to me that we need to do a bit more studying of teams because we're not really picking things up until we're too far behind. So on Saturday, we did change things. The second half of the first half and the first half of the second, I thought we were doing okay. Isaac Davis was given the defender on his side a torrid time. He scored the equaliser, of course. Then early in the second half, we had Salek hit the post. I think the goalkeeper may have got a touch on it. It was a really good save if he did. However, we don't know why players get hooked. We don't know the reasons why. It may be that Isaac was injured. Maybe that he wasn't too up to speed on what was going on. But we went more defensive, and I think that they invited Sunderland onto us. And then the goal we let in was unfortunately a complete schoolboy error that's obviously been worked out by Sunderland on the training ground, and we fell foul of it. We made the changes. We brought Alves on, and we brought Kean Ashford on the other side. Seemed to me we didn't get either of them the ball. So that cost us as well. So I think middle part of the game was fine. The start of the game and the end of the game, less so. Number one, I'd say we need to do more research on a team before we start and say not do the research in the first 20 minutes of a game. What do I know? Or not also looking at how we might change things more positively towards the end of the game if we need to.
Thank you, Steve. I know you're a massive fan, and like Jonathan, I know you follow them home and away. So it's nice to hear your thoughts, John. I know we chatted as we always do when the game's on, and tell us let me just dip this volume. Tell us your thoughts, John. I know we weren't happy with playing out from the back. What I don't understand with this playing out from the back. Let me just quick before I bring you in, John. I saw an interview with the Liverpool manager just after they played PSG in the week in the Champions League, and obviously they beat them. But he said we noticed that they're a very high pressing team, very, very high energy. So we decided for the first 20 minutes of that Champions League game last week not to play out from the back. I didn't actually see the game, so they'd actually ditched playing out from the back for the first 20, 25 minutes or so, just to give a bit of an insight as to where they were with Paris Saint-Germain. And surely, John, we should be doing the same thing, because I don't think we've got the players in our side against a high press, young, high energy team to play out from the back. So why are we doing it, John?
Only Omar Rizla knows that, don't he? As you quite rightly said, Steve, you have to play that system. You have the right players to do it. We haven't got the players to play that system. And the game of football, I'm repeating myself week in, week out, and I'm driving myself nuts. I'll be honest with you, Steve, I'm still a bit angry from Saturday, to be honest with you. Right? If playing off the back, teams will just push up, won't they? Put your full-backs under pressure and your centre-halves, innit? And then your goalkeeper, then he's like Ronnie Rubberlegs, and he starts panicking then, don't he? And then a mistake will happen. Then we concede, don't we, after a minute. Their passing and movement was better than ours. When we got the ball, it's like, what do I do with it now? Who do I pass it to? We're too far apart, Steve. Say you got the ball, Wiggy, right? And I'm playing with you. I'm probably in Land's End and John O'Groat somewhere. We're too far apart, mate, when we got the ball. They're at home, Sunderland. They pressed us. They didn't give us time on the ball. It could have been 6-0 half time, Steve. Could have been 6-0. Yeah. If they were more clinical, they could have been out of sight, out of mind. Second half, we started better. I don't know why I took little Isaac Davis, because he reminds me, he's not the same quality, but it's similar to Bellamy. He harasses everyone, don't he? He's a flipping nuisance, isn't he? You know, he puts whoever's on the ball under pressure, and he was giving their fullback a torrid time, his speed, everything. He was only player out there for us Saturday who stuck out like a sore thumb for me, who had a good game. And then he takes him off. Now, that period in second half, we were on top, and I thought, oh, we're going to get a second goal here. Oh, surprise, surprise. He's done it again, isn't he? From a back four, he changes to a 5. Then, like Steve said on the top right, you're going deep. That invites pressure. It's only a matter of time that the other team's going to score. This guy is not learning. He's done it at Bristol City, he's done it at Stoke, and he's done it at home as well. I think it was against Watford or something like that. Like, he tries to hold on to a lead with 20 minutes to go. It's ridiculous. I don't watch other much football. I'm just Cardiff through and through. Like, but I did have a look at the Pompey game, because Pompey, they remind me a bit like us, similar to us, like with their crowd and all that. And Leeds, far superior football team. It's not rocket science. What did Leeds do? They pressed them, didn't they? Didn't give them time on the ball, and they were like a pack of wild dogs on them. And they deserved it. And this man just cost us quite a few games this season. And if we do stay up, you know what this board's like, innit? Oh, we'll give him another contract now, innit? And then we probably start off again, another bad start. And then Darren Pearce will probably take over then. You know, it's just shockingly run club, it is, mate. Shockingly run.
So I know you're upset, John. I know you're very passionate, but we'll come to some of those points in just a sec. Mark, it's great to have you on the show, and I know you've been quite outspoken in some of the things I've seen on social networking, which is great. And listen, you know, some people don't like things like that, but that's the whole point of a social networking message board, or whatever you want to call it, for people to have opinions on. And it's great to see the different opinions, and we all see the games in through different eyes. I don't know what you thought first, Mark, about the setup of the side on Saturday. I mean, I put a post on one of the pages across the weekend. Do you think there's actually too much chopping and changing of the side to start the game?
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's struggling to work out what his best team is, and I don't think he's being helped with injuries. If we're being honest, we've got to be a little bit fair to him. I appreciate what you said at the start of it. I suspect there might be one or two people watching thinking, "Oh, crikey, Mark's on. It's going to be really negative," and I'm going to promise you, I'll try not to be. But yeah, I think there is a lot of swapping and changing. And do you know what? One of the better performances, I'm going to contradict myself now, is I thought we were really solid against Villa. They were a top class. There must have been a load of us behind the goal that looked at that Villa team sheet and thought, crikey, we're going to be on the end of it today. And actually, for 60, 70 minutes, I thought all those lads stepped up really, really well, which is ironic because there was a number of changes in that side and we were playing out from the back a bit. But coming back to a point that Jonathan made, is that, this playing out from the back, we were awful at the start of the season. And we were doing it with Horvath, and something had to change, and we stopped. And actually, performance started to get a bit better, but we're back to it again. And I don't quite understand why we've gone back to it, because it's not nice seeing your own players looking so scared. But blimey, the first few weeks of the season, Horvath looked pale coming out into the and we're back to it again, and we've got him till the end of the season. So and that's through no fault of his own. So we've got him, and they need to find a way to help him a little bit. But he played in goal at Villa, and I thought he did okay. Made some great saves, and was passing. I mean, there were a few near the knuckle moments at Villa. Let's be honest, when we were passing it out, that had us all a little bit breathing heavily, but. I just hope that we can find back to your point, find some stability in the team, because we got to find a core of players that get us through the next 10. I absolutely don't want to see us go down, but I'm based in the Midlands, and I'm so worried we look very much like Birmingham did last season, where it just feels like it's a fight too far. And we've been in this position too long for too many seasons, and Birmingham would have considered themselves a little bit too good to go down, and they did. And I'm so worried that we are heading in that direction if we can't find a really good solid 10 games to finish this off.
Yes, it's a great point there. A great point from Kyle on the screen as well. He says, what happened to the football we played against Plymouth, Portsmouth and Swansea? Fantastic football, passing and moving, doing the basics. We haven't done that since the Swansea win. I just wonder why I think the makeup of the team on Saturday, I think he started because he put Robinson in the team to try and get him in, to try and shoehorn him in. But in the end, we probably all saw that Robinson was playing more as a 10 rather than a striker. And young Ruben was shafted out on where did he start you? On the right-hand side? I can't remember. He moved around so much. He started wide left.
On the right.
On the right.
On the right.
On the right of midfield. But Robinson was in the team just to get it. I think it was just to get him in the side rather than play him up front as a 2. He played him just behind, didn't he? And I thought they cut through us early part of the game on Saturday. The midfield, it was like knife through butter. I go back to my original point there. I think the chopping and changing. I always go back to when. Listen, I always say I played senior league. It was nowhere near championship level, but we had a settled team, and I knew all the players. I was centre forward. I knew all the players in the midfield. I knew we had a left back called Trevor Harry. Okay, just quickly, I knew he could ping that ball from our own 18-yard box. I'd run the channel, and he could put it on a sixpence to me. So I knew where I had to go, because when Trevor had the ball, I knew where that ball was going to go. And I think it's the same with our teams. But because we're chopping and changing all the time, and we're trying to find a place for Ruben somewhere, and then we bring Rambo in, and then we put Robertson in there, and we lost Turnbull. I just don't think there's any rhythm in the team. And I think that's why we're starting so slowly all the time. I mean, I know there's injuries. I know teams get injuries, Steve, but I don't know what you think. Personally, I thought the makeup or the lineup on Saturday, it didn't look balanced to me. And I'd sooner see Ruben playing just behind the forwards rather than out wide, because we've tried him out wide so many different occasions, and he just didn't get into the game, I don't think. Don't know what you thought, Steve.
I agree. I agree. He is not playing in his right position. But I think just to get a bit of perspective, and I may be shot down on this, the last 2 teams we played were 3rd and 4th in the league. They're 3rd and 4th in the league for a reason. I'd love to see us do what Burnley did to Luton on Saturday, beating them 4-0. So they're up there for a reason. Yeah, they've had a few blips because they're anybody can beat anybody in the Championship, but we did for periods of both games, notwithstanding what Jonathan said. For periods of both games, I think we've done okay. We've given ourselves far too much far too much to do in both these games. There's a lot of chopping and changing. One comment in the comments that I'm looking at here is about why Will Fish didn't start. Now against Villa, I thought he was absolutely outstanding. However, I think it was against Plymouth, wasn't it? He didn't go with his man when Plymouth equalised. So I think there's a lot we don't know what's going on. But I agree, we're still struggling to find the first 11. And as Mark says, we've got to sort this out quickly now, because you've got 10 cup finals coming up. We have got a number of very important games to come up with. And I think if you look, I think I read it on the message, one of the message boards this afternoon, that we've got 3 other teams around us still to play, and we're playing them all at home. So we really need to win tomorrow night. We need to beat Stoke. I wouldn't say tomorrow is a must-win game, but we must win some of the games between now and the end of the season. And tomorrow night may be one of our best chances.
Good point, Steve. Rob Flynn's on the messages. Thanks for all the messages, by the way. Keep them coming in. I'll try and get through as many as we can. Rob Flynn, we haven't had a centre forward for years, and we still don't use Salek. Which is something we were chatting, I think, before we came on air, guys, where I think we brought on Alves and we brought on Kieran in the second half, and still we couldn't get those balls into the box, could we? Still the balls were being crossed over. And here's another comment from Martin Ryan just come in. Robinson can't play as a 10. Robinson can't play as a 10. His distribution is not good enough. He's not accurate enough or played with enough pace. And that's spot on, Martin, compared what I was watching on Saturday. I don't think Robbo is a number 10. So, you're either going to play him up top, aren't you, John, with Salek as a 2 and play someone pacey on the wing to get the balls in the box and hope Robbo's going to get the knockdowns. But I don't think, even though Salek's getting the goals and getting into great positions, we could be getting a lot better use out of him. Don't you think, guys?
Yeah,
John?
Absolutely, yeah. For a start, why is he playing O'Dowda at left back? I'm more of a left back than O'Dowda. I want him further up the pitch and big and left back. I want O'Dowda getting down the flank and whipping them balls in for Salek. Getting those crosses in. Why is he playing in full back? Steve, he's not a full back.
I know. It's back to the Rinner motor thing, and I think he's been found out as well as he's done. But it's like anything else. We all played the game probably, and your position. So if you get asked to play a different position, then it's an alien. You're in an alien part of the field to where you normally are. So you're bound to be like a bit of a fish out of water, as well as those boys have tried to do, and they've performed well in patches, haven't they? But not with any continuity. I don't know what you think, Mark, whether we've only got Bacon to call on at left back now, haven't we? Because JT's gone AWOL, hasn't he? So
who knows where he's gone, why he's gone. Again, nothing from the club, especially at a time when we actually need some players. It's frustrating to see that I think somebody will correct us or correct me, but I think he's still got a place in the 25. So that's just nonsense. It's just bad management of the club. I think there's a couple of partnerships there. So you mentioned playing Ruben out wide slightly earlier as well. I thought he was terrific against Villa, because those sort of midfields, they allow them to have just that little bit more space, which he doesn't have at Championship level. They play the game slightly differently. And again, I don't want him to have his best years away from us, but somebody will snap him up, I think, if they're going to go up to the Championship. If we're going to be around the bottom half of the Championship for too long, that a top Championship side or a Premier League side is probably going to have a go at him. And then somebody mentioned on as well, I think it was you, Steve, mentioned Turnbull getting injured. Or I think the best we've looked for a reasonable period of time was when we had Turnbull alongside Chambers. It seemed to have a solid midfield, because I think it was they're not the most attacking of players, but it just gave our defence a little bit of breathing space and then allowed us to play. As soon as Turnbull took that injury, and it was a bad one, I think it was away at Coventry over on the touchline, and you just knew he was going to be out for a long time, and that's hurt us, because I think our January was positive, unbeaten through January. But it feels like it's got worse through February. February points accumulation has not been good enough, and we haven't got any points in March yet. And we can't carry on like that and hope to get away from this position. We are properly in a fight, so again, it's about the square pegs, round holes thing. Ruben, not a wide player. He gets hassled in the Championship in midfield, but he is getting, I don't want to say better, he's better than I am, but he does a job for us, and especially towards the latter end of the games. I've always felt Ruben's best 30 minutes are the last 30 minutes because he's a young lad. Teams tire and there's space to play in, and the Villa game proved that. There was one particular moment he let the ball drift past him without touching the ball. He took two players out of the game, didn't actually touch the ball, and we got to try to find a way of getting the best out of what we got. And again, the Salek point. Again, Salek came on last 45 minutes in the second half against Villa, gave him a torrid time. We have to find a way of getting him the ball and using him. I don't know who the Martin's making a point there now. He's spot on.
Yeah,
he's a real handful. But we got to find a way of getting it to him, getting it quicker without us looking like long ball.
Yeah. But I think that's another reason why we need to mix up our play from the back a bit. Because now we've got Salek in the team as a centre forward. We've got a focal point to aim for. So there's no harm, or whatever you want to call it, knocking a few long balls up now and again. And we got speed merchants around him. If Isaac's available tomorrow, then we've got Isaac, we've got Alves. So we've got people with pace. That we can get in around him. So I don't think there's any problem with knocking the long balls now and again. I mean, why put yourself under pressure? This is what I don't get. And after we conceded that goal, after just over a minute, as you said, Steve, I think about 5 minutes later, we were doing the same thing, and we just heap pressure on ourselves. And I don't see the point in doing it. After you've been caught once, after just a minute of the game, why you continue to play that way? Why don't you look? We got Salek up front. Let's clip a few long balls for 20 minutes and play in their half rather than let teams play in our half. And I think that's why we're struggling with the first half of lots of games, because we're playing too much in our half.
I think that's right. A lot of it is, if you look at it, some of our players do have the right position. Moving Chambers to play in front of the centre backs was a masterstroke. But however, somebody's put in the comments, teams work us out. If you do things for too long, teams are going to work it out. I remember, I think it's Birmingham away when Warnock was our manager the season we went up. Birmingham had a new manager in, so he said it took him 20 minutes to work out how the team were going to play because he hadn't seen them. He suspected they were going to be playing differently because of the fact they had a new manager in, and it took him 20 minutes to work out, by which time we were a goal down, ended up losing 1-0. We need to make sure, sorry to sound like a broken record, we've done our homework on these teams. I hope somebody, as was said before we went on air, you can watch all the games on replay. Set your Sky box, set your Virgin box, whatever. Record those flaming games. Watch them back against the team we're going to play against, and try to work out how the team might start off against us, and perhaps even try to take the game to the other team. Tomorrow night, I'd love to see Rambo back in midfield. I'd love to see somebody who can ping a ball forward. I think can I answer Viv's comment as well? Do the panel honestly think we're going to stay up? Yes, I do think we're going to stay up. Enough people that I know who support other teams have said there are 3 worse teams than us in this division. That's all I want. I want to go to Norwich last game of the season, 4 points ahead, so I can enjoy the day.
So the 3 worst teams are Steve, go on, in your opinion?
Fair play. Plymouth, Derby, and hopefully tomorrow, Luton still.
What's your thought on that, John? Do you think they're 3 worst teams in the city this season, or does that make a difference even if we don't turn up and perform the last 10 games? I mean, I don't know if you saw any of the Pompey game yesterday, like someone said earlier. I mean, the fire and desire amongst those guys, they're not the best team in the world, but I think it was you, John. But the way they got stuck into leagues, they totally rattled their feathers. And by playing with a tempo and a pace and a press in the first half, it fired the crowd up. I've never heard a crowd. I mean, I know it's a very intimidating place, Fratton Park, but that crowd yesterday,
love it.
They were shaking in their boots. It took me back to Ninian Park in the FA Cup game against Leeds.
Yeah. That's why I watched it, Steve. Can you ask me something, Steve? Why is everyone confusing the game of football? Why? It's a simple game. It's a simple game. You hit the nail on the head there. Leeds, far superior. So you play to your strengths, don't you?
Yeah.
You got to get stuck into them. You got to high press. You said to yourself, and I said it. You watch managers on the line. Flipping Risley. I was watching him in Sunderland. He's got his hands in his pocket like he's waiting for the number 61 for Pendrabane. Now you see other managers right in the dugout. They're screaming. They're going, press, press, press all the time. Screaming at their team And that's what Pompey did. Pressed all the time.
Yeah.
Just getting stuck into them. That's what you got to do. If you back off against teams like that, like we did up in Ellen Road, well, if it was a boxing match, the ref would have stopped there. We got absolutely annihilated. So you've got to do the basics. I don't mean times I've got to say it. Do the basics. Everything else falls into place. But this manager, he's tinkering, he's fussing, he's putting players in wrong positions. And I've said this at the season, and if I get slated, I'm big enough and ugly enough to take it, Steve. I don't care. But I said at the start of the season, we are going down.
Yeah, I know you did, John.
We haven't got any leaders. Let me finish. We got no leaders, mate. We got no leaders.
To what Size said, Stoke are in free fall. They'll finish below us as well. I think we'll have at least 3 teams below us at the end of the season.
I won't be wrong.
Yeah. But now you just mentioned that, John, about the press. As soon as you mentioned those words, that took me back to Malky's days. And I used to sit just behind him, just in front of the press box there. And he was exactly the same. I can see him. Yeah. Press. If the team weren't doing it, he was on their backs all the time. And I like to see that from a manager, personally. Lee Griffiths, boys, we need to stop playing out from the good to hear from you, Lee. We need to stop playing out from the back. Not good enough. And they genuinely don't know how to do it or what their intentions are from it as well, which is a great point. Here's one just to put the cat among the pigeons to everyone watching as well tonight as well, and to the 3 of us or the 4 of us here tonight. If and Steve's pretty convinced that we've got 3 worse teams than us. If Omar keeps us up in the championship this season, do we give him a contract for 2026?
No.
Steve Thomas. John's in already.
I would say that right. The answer is it depends. Depends on what we want to do. Do we want to push on and go up the league? If we get somebody new in, are we going to back him? If we're not going to back him, we may as well stick with Omar Rizza. You need to decide where we want to go in future, or the hierarchy need to decide what we want to do. Are we happy to toddle along season after season? Last season was a level of success, finishing in 12th place, not being in a relegation battle. Are we happy just to stay in the championship? I'm quite happy being in the championship. I know where to park for all the away games. I've been to these grounds so many times. I'd rather be in there from a travel point of view than go down to League One.
Yeah, I actually prefer the football in the Championship to Premier League. I don't know what you guys think, but Mark, what's your take on the manager? If he keeps us up, does he keep his job?
I think he does. I think Tan offer him something. I don't think he should. Is my honest answer. I think, I think you've seen the debates that we've had on social media, which is probably why I'm on here. But it is that he, some people want to sack him. I don't think he's doing a good enough job right now. But if he keeps us up, I don't think Tan will get rid of him. But the whole thing for me that's worrying it is I just don't think there's a plan. There's not been a plan for a long time. I really appreciate you, Simon, not asking me about the relegation question because I've dodged that. I think I just think the club is tired. The whole setup is tired. We've seen people criticising the atmosphere in the ground. The key for me, the difference between where clubs are in the Championship, and it really hit home watching that Portsmouth game, is they've just come up. They're fighting like crazy to stay up. We are season 3 or 4 in the bottom half of the league, struggling to get people to turn up. The family stand is reasonably empty. The grandstand's not great either. It just all feels a bit tired. And where are we going to go next? And that's why I'm worried about asking the question you haven't asked me yet, and I'm not going to answer it.
I'll jump to that one.
So I think Omo does probably, if he keeps us up, probably does carry on. But if he does, I suspect that they'll sack him by November, because that's just what we do.
Yeah,
merry-go-round. Yeah. On the subject of the ground, John, do you think we shoot out? I know this has been quite a contentious issue on lots of sites. Do you think we shoot ourselves in the foot by the makeup of the stadium? If you think about, say, Fratton Park yesterday, you've got the Leeds fans there behind the goals. You got Pompey fans to their right, not baying for their blood, but very vociferous. You've got Pompey fans the other side, very vociferous. Whereas in our stadium, of course, they plunked the family stand, and they right next to the away fans. So I mean, I know that's probably a decision from security or Wayne Nash or whatever, but do you think the makeup of our stadium then, compared to how it used to be at Ninian Park, is shooting us in the foot a little bit and killing the atmosphere? Or do you think that's down to the players to fire up the team with an energetic start to the game?
In my opinion, the home fans should be by the away fans to drown them out. But that's down to Wayne Nash. He's the stadium manager. And something to do with extra, or it's all excuses. Extra policing is going to cost that. I don't buy it. The City fans should be by the way fans, drown them out. All right. When we're playing at home, we start off like the away team, like, we don't start off on the front foot. We said against one at Preston, they've been on a bad run. They beat us 2-0. We said QPR, they've been on a bad run. They lost about 10 games in a row or whatever it was. They beat us 2-0. I'm not confident tomorrow against Luton, if I'm honest. I'm not confident. I'll be honest with you. I'm not confident.
Would you? I know you snuck in before we got the others' verdict on Omar, but yeah, you're 100% if he keeps us up on a change next season. Then
I want a proper manager in. Yeah. I want a proper manager in. Flipping hell. What's the saying? Buy cheap, you pay twice more than it. It's like everything else. You get what you pay for, innit? I want a proper experienced championship manager in. I'm like Steve. I'm quite happy to stay in the championship myself personally. Don't get me wrong. Premier League, great financially, brilliant. But you're getting your chores pulled down every week, innit? You can't get the ball off the other side. It's bloody soul destroying. If you look right through Cardiff's City's history through the years, we were just an average second division side. That's all we were. If you look right through the history and all that. And I'm quite happy just to stay in the championship myself personally. But tomorrow night, tomorrow, if I was the manager and I do that job for nothing, I would, because I love Cardiff City, right? I bleed blue, right? I want to see blood, snot, and tears tomorrow night from my players.
I think we all do. We all do. Don't we, John?
And there's a lot of players, Steve, they're walking around as well. I noticed up in Sunderland and quite a few games walking around. Any of my players walking around, you're off. I don't care who you are or what you are. And I got a funny feeling this manager, he's trying to please everyone. Myself personally, trying to please everyone.
I mean, from what I saw on Saturday, I mean, the only one who Robinson is never going to put a foot in. From what I saw on Saturday, even when it's like 60-40 in his favour, you will never put a foot in. So have we got? El Cid. Well, no, Lee said the better there, I think. But if the only player I can think who really does get stuck in the midfield is probably Chambers. I don't know if anyone wants to say, Mark, any thoughts on that? We haven't got anyone like a, I don't know, we're trying to think back, like a football player or a Mel Set, someone like that who's going to get stuck in all the time, Where to put up
Ramsey in midfield, not Aaron, Paul Ramsey, somebody who now
Paul Ramsey, the Irish boy,
Paul Ramsey, somebody used to go and stick a foot in, right? Do the ugly bit, you're absolutely right. Yeah. We got, to be fair, Rinomoto does a job a bit like that. But he can't do it at fullback. No. So there's a couple of times when I've seen him chasing players down, and he doesn't give up, and he runs and he runs and he runs, and you know what? That lifts the crowd. Jonathan made a great point about drowning the away fans out in the stadium. What would help is a performance on the pitch to get people excited. You know, it starts to fall flat when 10, 15 minutes into the game. You know, I'm in block 105 at the Canton stand, and they're doing their best. The lads, banging the drums, and the youngsters are trying to get behind the side. But you're looking at thinking, oh, here we go. And I genuinely believe there's not a problem with the stadium, because when Wales play there and they're playing well, the place is bouncing. Right, so that stadium can do it, and we've all been in that stadium when it could do it when City are playing in there as well. But for me, I know people want to say, "Oh, keep being positive, get behind the team every week." I think that gets a bit draining after a while. I need to see something on the pitch that's going to get people going, because I have always thought City supporters don't necessarily want the best players, but they want somebody that's going to show 110%, and then the City will get behind them. Right, and they will, and if we get beaten by a better side, you kind of accept it and you walk away. But I can't accept getting stuffed by teams that are not better than us. 7 at Leeds was just awful.
Do any of you think that we've been hampered by? It's great that armchair fans can see 20 of our games on Sky this season. However, for travelling fans like me and Mark, who travel a distance to home games, 12:30 means I've got to leave home at 7 o'clock. The amount of midweek games I'd have to take a day and a half off work to come and see. Last week was a massive game against Burnley. You could see the Cardiff letters in the stand. You can't normally see that, and it's probably going to be the same tomorrow night. My season ticket has not been as good value this season because there's so many games we have to miss. I think in the first 3 months of the season we had 1 3 o'clock home kickoff on a Saturday. And I think that's going to affect the crowds. People are going to be affected. People who play, follow youth football on a Saturday morning. 12:30 is going to be no good to them. And also the amount of midweek games we have as well. We need to let's get back to having 3 o'clock Saturday kickoffs, because that's when we get the best crowd.
I think that's going to affect.
Go on. I was going to say it's a beautiful place to play football, though. The pitch, it's an international football stadium. And so when the away team turns up, it's, the old adage, it's like playing at Wembley, and you come there and you think, well, there's only 10,000 Cardiff fans here. We'll keep them quiet. And now we can play football on it. It's back to the point, John, I think Jonathan and Steve were making about Pompey's ground being old school and Murray. Back in Indian Park, we were scaring the life out of people. I'm quite
dead right.
If I'm being honest, it was nice to have a stadium that was nasty to come, but people didn't like coming. Good.
I think we all agree with that one, Mark. Thanks for all the comments. Michael's on. Boys, we've had too many managers, and even if we changed, we could end up with another bullet. Better the devil you know. I would personally stick with Rizza for next season. Lee's back on. We need to get the stadium bouncing to get behind the team. Why are we selling tickets for a tenner and the kids for £1 to become the 12th man? Why don't we sell tickets for a tenner and the kids for £1? I suppose that comes back to the season ticket thing, where I suppose they've given a price for the season tickets and they're a bit wary about, upsetting the season ticket holders even more. Well, you've alluded to that.
It doesn't bother me. Bring them in.
Exactly. Wouldn't bother me.
I'm with you there. But I honestly can't see, with the power of TV now, Steve, I honestly can't see this ever changing. The Sky have introduced this 12:30 with a Sky Plus. You can access all the games, blah, blah, blah. And of course, with the international breaks, you need those midweek games to get all the fixtures in. So I honestly can't see that changing. But you're right. It's a great point. It does affect. As people work on Saturdays, there's so many different reasons why people can't get to early kickoffs and midweek games as well.
Absolutely. If you look at during COVID, when football resumed after COVID, there was no real home advantage because it was just two teams playing on a carpet. The crowd does make a difference. It's an old cliche, but they are the 12th man. And as we've all said, talking about the atmosphere now, nights at New Cardiff City Stadium were fantastic. When we first started there, we had Dave Jones took us to knocking on the door. Malky got us promoted. There were some great atmospheres at Cardiff City Stadium. Again, but then I think we do try to make. I think was it 2 or 3 seasons on the trot we won the best away fan experience. Could you imagine us winning the best away fan experience at Ninian Park? Now, summed up, we played Newcastle, I think the first season, and there's Male Voice Choir who went and sang the Bladen Races in front of the away end. We want them to feel welcome, and not during the 90 minutes of the game, for goodness sake. We want it to be an intimidating atmosphere to intimidate the opposition players. Remember what Rio Ferdinand said about playing away at Galatasaray. I'm not bothered about playing at Galatasaray. I played at Ninian Park. We want it too intimidating.
I just want to quickly mention, boys, Simon and the Cardiff City World team, they've got an event 25th of April at Splott Cons. Glenn Loovens, who was a great servant to the city, as you know, as a centre-half sweeper. Tickets are £10. There's still a few available, so go along and support them. That's going to be a great night. CardiffCityWorld@gmail.com if you fancy getting along to the Glenn Loovens event with the Cardiff City World team. Let me throw another ball at you then, boys. Do you think we offload, looking at a few of the games across the weekend and a few of the scorers and the impressive performances, do you think there's a tendency at the City to offload players too soon? And I'll just throw a few at you. Josh Murphy for Portsmouth yesterday on the wing. Marlon Paku, I thought, sitted very nicely at centre-half because their centre-halves were a bit depleted. Very impressive against Leeds yesterday. Mark Harris on the score sheet for Oxford away at Norwich. Yeah. And finally, he's the captain now at Derby County, our old friend Ibu Adams, who also was on the score sheet of the weekend.
Yeah.
Do you think there's a tendency to offload players too quickly, or are you glad all those boys are no longer with us?
Can I answer that first? Right. A flat no from me. Josh, to go through the players. Josh Murphy, I was very excited when we first signed him. I thought he was unplayable when I saw him play against us for Norwich. Didn't fit in very well with us. One you missed out, of course, Bobby Decker-Dover-Reid. He's still playing the Premier League now. One of the few players who still is. We didn't really have a team that suited him. So again, I thought as well, Mark Harris, how many years are you a promising young player? There's got to come a point where you move on from not being a promising young player. Until he scored against Norwich at the weekend, he started off on fire quite well, but he hadn't actually scored for a very long time. I think Ebu Adams, I think he came in from Forest Green Rovers, didn't he? And he was player of the year for them. And then he came first, got a horrendous injury in pre-season. He never really got up to speed again. A bit like Jamilu Collins, really. When Jamilu Collins came in, I thought he was absolutely outstanding. Then he got that horrendous injury at West Brom. I think other teams can benefit where we rehabilitate players and they move on somewhere else. I don't think any of those we can honestly say I was upset about losing any of them.
Yeah, John, what do you reckon? Do we miss Josh Murphy on the wing?
He was hot and cold for us, so only the one I was disappointed in most, and I thought we should have played him more, and I thought he's an excellent little player, is Bobby Reid, we should have used him more, going back to the Premier League, when we played Fulham on it, and we lost 1-0 up there, and he had him on the bench, and he was playing that, what was his name, that other guy up front from Everton?
Omar Niasse.
Yeah.
Yeah, he couldn't hit the cow's backside with a banjo. Absolutely pony. Absolutely rubbish. And he had Bobby Reid on the bench. This was Warnock, and I said to my mate, why don't he take that raspberry off from Everton and get Bobby Reid on, we might have got something out of that game. But anyway, I don't want to keep looking backwards. I want to keep looking forward. But we're on about crowds and stuff like that. Well, people all make excuses, don't they? Either dog's ill or I haven't got money. But there was 5,000 up Villa, though, wasn't there? 6,000. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So, but I'd rather like it was up Sunderland, just myself and 500 of us singing our hearts out, I'd prefer that. I do myself personally. But some players are happy at clubs, some are not, and they move on, innit?
Yeah, good point. Let's shift it on a little bit because time's knocking on. Mark, Luton are in town, as we know, tomorrow. Steve, I think you said earlier it's a must-not-win game. I'm going to beg to differ. I think we got to win that game tomorrow, and I think we got to win it well as well. I don't know what you think, Mark. Luton are going to be physical tomorrow. We know that they got that big guy up front. What's his name? He's been around the block, centre forward. They left him out Saturday. Is it not Clark? What's his name? Can't think of his name now. Oh, that's going to annoy me.
Somebody will tell us.
Yeah, they're a physical team. They're gonna. I mean, they were in the Premier League last year, and they got Adebayo up front, another big guy. So it's not a foregone conclusion.
It's an absolute must win. I don't buy into any of this. We got other games coming. This is a must win. I believed Plymouth away was a must win, because we need to be taking points off those teams, not giving them a point. So yeah, absolutely, it's a must win. I'm not going to make it. So you know where I am, but I feel sorry for everyone that's going to be in the ground, because I think it's going to be a really nervy game. I just want us to start strongly. I think I sent a message about this before. We got to start positively, score first, stop chasing games. That's how we're going to stay in the division. We've got to stop giving teams, like when we went to Portsmouth and give them a 2-goal lead and then outplayed them. Steve, I think Steve, you mentioned you thought we played really well after we were 2-0 down. We got to play really well for 90 minutes and not go 2 down. Score first is an absolute must for us tomorrow. That's my view. And just really quickly, devastated Abu Adams left. To be honest with you, only because I bought his match-worn shirt and then he disappeared. So I've given up doing that now, because I'm just I just send people out the club.
Yeah, here's a good one from Ryan. He says, "Boys, I personally believe if we lose tomorrow, we're definitely going down." That's a strong statement there. I don't know what you guys think.
I agree with him. If we lose, I agree with him.
Yeah.
I don't think we can. I don't think we can lose that game at all tomorrow. The thought of even losing the game. I mean, even a draw. I know you said, Steve, you think it's a must not win. Where do you see the points if we don't win the game tomorrow, Steve? Where do you see the points coming from?
Jamie Anderson, great to see you on Saturday, Jamie, as well. I like his point. I think every game's a must-win. Each passing game we don't win, the next becomes more vital. We've got to start picking up points somewhere. If we don't win tomorrow, we've still got nine games to go. I think I would agree that if we lose tomorrow, we're right back in it. It was nice a couple of weeks ago to have that 6-point cushion, but now that cushion's down to 4 points. With Derby winning, thankfully there was a good tonking for both Luton and Plymouth on Saturday, so we can kind of forget about that for the time being. But in answer to your question, Steve, I want us to win every game, obviously, but the games are running out. We've got to start picking up points from somewhere. So if we don't win tomorrow, if we don't win tomorrow and win the last 9 games, it's great. I believe in the Tooth Fairy and Father Christmas as well.
Carlton Morris is the centre forward for them tomorrow. Big physical bloke, so it is going to be all blood and guts tomorrow. I'm just looking at.
Gutas doesn't do well with them, does he? Gutas doesn't do well with Mark. Physical.
Not usually. I thought he did okay first half on Saturday. He helped us out a couple of times, I thought, personally, but then he went a bit wobbly anyway. I'm looking at the other fixtures, and I don't want to start looking at other fixtures, but probably like all of us, we're starting to look, and I'm looking to see if teams can do us a bit of a favour. But I think we got to really take the bull by the horns here now. If we don't, then we really might come unstuck. Derby home to Coventry tomorrow night, which is Coventry are flying at the moment, aren't they? They won again on Saturday. Our game, of course, against Luton, and then on Wednesday, Hull playing Oxford. So who do we want to win there? Oxford and Pompey home to Plymouth. All these games look like huge, massive games for us, and Stoke entertaining Blackburn up at the 365. So all those games, looking at those games, you think, blimey, I want it to be a draw. I can't see. We just got to make sure, I think, that our house is in order rather than keep looking at the other fixtures.
Yeah, but in answer to your question, we need the 3 teams below us to lose. One of them being Luton, so we've got to do ourselves a favour. Yeah. What do you reckon, John? I mean, I personally, I think we got to win that game tomorrow, and then of course Saturday it's Blackburn at Ewood Park Saturday, where notoriously we don't do much up there, do we normally?
No. No, last time we won up there was when we won 4-1, wasn't it? The first time we went up in the Premier League, wasn't it?
Yeah, going back a few years. Yeah.
That's last time I think we won up there. Listen, well, flipping out. Don't have to be a rocket scientist to work it out. Of course, it's a massive game tomorrow. Flipping out, Christ! If we don't win that, I think we're gone. And you know you're in trouble when you start looking at the other teams around you to do you a favour. You know you're in trouble by doing that. Do you know what I mean? We got to win tomorrow at all costs. It's not about good performances now. It's about getting 3 points. I don't care if it comes off his left ear or his left ingrowing toenail, long as we score. It's about getting the points. It's about getting the points now. And they're going to be big and physical tomorrow, and that's what's worrying me. They're big, they're physical, you know, and a lot of our players go a little bit missing when it gets a bit like that, isn't it? You know?
Yeah. So with that in mind, then, the makeup of the team tomorrow. What would you like to see? What would we all like to see? The starting lineup. Who would you
players in the right positions? Put people in the right
so
positions.
So would you play?
Yeah.
Would you play Bacon?
Yeah.
Fishing boots in the centre. Bacon left back. Perry right.
Perry right back. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Midfield.
What's his name? Menswear. What's his name? Yeah.
Mansberg.
Yeah,
Mansberg and Chambers together. Bit of height, bit of physicality. Ruben in the middle.
Yeah, Ruben number 10. He's a number 10. Yeah. I'd like to see two up top, I would. I'd like to see two up top, I would.
Who would you play? Would you play Isaac with Salek or would you play Robinson?
I'd play Isaac, I would, because when Salek, he makes some nice little runs, Salek, and when Robinson had the ball and going forward with it, we were screaming, lay it off for Salek, lay it off for him. And he decided to go on his own right to be the glory boy instead of laying it off for Salek, like to put him through. Notice that as well.
Steve, would you start Alves tomorrow?
No, I wouldn't. I would start off that the front three on Saturday were fine. It was the ball getting up. And I take your point about Callum Robinson. However, we did when we got into the game. Isaac was fantastic on one side. I would start off with Isaac. I would play Chambers in front of the back thrower, but I wouldn't play Mansvert with him. I would have Aaron Ramsey in there to be able to do some things going forward.
That's interesting. Some of the comments. Phil Samuel. Tomorrow, I'd start with Isaac and Alves, both wings. So Isaac right, Alves left. We need to get crosses in the box for Salek. That's a great point as well. And that's personally, I'd try and find a little place for Alves. I like him, and I think he's got that little bit of nous about him, and he can whip the balls in the box. So we need crosses tomorrow for Salek, don't we? We need to get the ball in the box, and that's something I don't think we did on Saturday particularly well. Ryan, I definitely wouldn't start with your favourite John El Ghazi, and I just wondering because he wasn't even on the bench on Saturday. Is he in the back of his mind that he's going to play him tomorrow? I don't know.
Oh, no.
And Viv Bramfield, hi Viv, good to know you're listening and watching. I wouldn't want to go to Norwich on the last day of the season looking for 3 points. No, I don't think any of us would, to be honest.
No.
Yeah.
No. 12 kickoff as well.
Yeah, early kickoff.
Early start.
It comes back to what's the points total. You know, what do we need? You know, my mind. I know it's too high, but my mind is 50. Because I'm just so worried. A team like Derby is gonna win some games. They've got a new manager in there that's upset Blackburn. He's gone in there. I got a horrible feeling that they're going to start picking up some results. They're going to pick up 2 or 3 wins. That's going to put us right under pressure. I still think mentally 50 is the number to be. If we want to go to Norwich without needing something, I think 50 is the number. But I'm sure others will think it's probably more like 45, 46.
Yeah, I've seen comments that we need just a couple more wins, and I think we're going to need a few more than that, John. And Steve.
5 wins. I think we need 5 wins.
5 wins, 15 points.
Yeah, 15 points. Need another 15 points.
That is a very tall order with the amount of wins we've got this season. I think
that's the problem, Steve, isn't it? That's why I'm.
That's it. We got ourselves into a situation, innit?
But if you have a look at it, there's a lot of teams who've not won many games this season down the bottom. I think it's 3 from 5. and I'd like to finish top of that little bit mini League of Five. I think we've got to. I think we need to look tomorrow night. We need to look forward. We need to be on the front foot from the start. That doesn't matter who's playing. I was a little bit, go back to Alves. I was a little bit nervous when he came on. He's just come back from an injury. He did lose the ball a couple of times when he came on. We do need players to get the ball wide, but it may not get the ball wide to get it into Salek. But you can see what they're trying to do with Alves on one side and then bringing Kian Ashford on the other. But neither of them actually got the ball. It's one thing to have them on the pitch. We've got to make sure we get the ball to them.
That's right. Yeah. So it's making sure that we got someone who's going to create, especially from the start tomorrow, I think. So your Ruben or your Ramsey, Ruben's got to be in there somewhere personally, I think. But is he going to think about playing Ruben and Ramsey together tomorrow? I don't know. Do you think he think about doing that, Mark? Or?
It worked at Villa. I thought they were great together at Villa. So why not?
It's a possibility. Looking at the other fixtures for Saturday, just quickly: Millwall, Stoke, 12:30 kickoff. Luton are playing Borough. We're up at Blackburn. Plymouth versus Derby on Saturday as well. Preston versus.
Honestly, I think Derby win that. Win that, and that's what puts us under pressure. Yeah,
Preston, Pompey, Oxford, Watford. So that the games are coming thick and fast, and they're all going to affect the points, aren't they? So we've got to start winning games. I don't think draws are any good anymore. It starts tomorrow, and I just hope that Omar installs that in the side tomorrow to be up for it from the off. So a quick whiz round. Coming towards the end of our time here today. Tomorrow night, then, Steve, are you going to be happy with a draw, or have you changed your mind? Have we changed our mind? Do you think we have to win?
My point being throughout is that whilst tomorrow is a very much not lose, I'd rather win it. So I'll go, if you're going to talk about predictions, 2-1 win tomorrow night and another 2-1 win on Saturday. We've not won there for a long time. These records are there to be broken.
Away at Blackburn.
Absolutely.
Well, Mark. Yeah.
Back to back wins from Steve. I don't think I can follow that. But I think we'll draw tomorrow night, frustratingly, and I think we might get a draw at Blackburn. I'll go 2 points. 2 points in a week.
Lee reckons we need 10 points. 1 point a game's going to be enough. So drawing every single
two draws, I'm okay.
John, what do you reckon about tomorrow? I know Jamie reckons 3-1 tomorrow night. Suze is going for 3-1 as well to the City. His confidence there. Kyle's going to be happy with 4 points for the next 2 games. John, what do you reckon?
I got a bad feeling about tomorrow. I really have.
Yeah.
Bad feeling in my water. Yeah, really have. Really.
So you're going for?
I'm going for 1-0 Luton. I just got this bad feeling about it all. I really have, because when we're at home, we don't start off on the front foot. And then we seem to play better second half. Like there's 2 halves in a game of football, you know. That's my concern.
We did against Pompey and we did against Plymouth, John. So I don't see why we can't do it. It's just changing the mindset.
This is what winds me up, Steve. You can do it once, you can do it again. Now, against Portsmouth and Plymouth, what did we do in those 2 games? And I've been crying out for it for a long time, and they were doing it. What did we do in those 2 games?
We started off on the front foot. We were playing on the front foot.
Right.
There was hardly any square.
And we were playing in groups of threes. And when we lost the ball, that same group of 3 got the ball back when we started another attack.
Yeah.
It seems to have gone. It seems to have all vanished now, that. It seems to have all vanished. Yeah. And to play that system... I don't fancy it up there, mate. Nah, nothing up there, mate.
Nothing at all. And then we got the international breakdown as well. So,
yeah.
I know. Listen, I don't mind. Well, I know. I don't mind the words.
When you're doing well, it's not so good international break, innit? But when you're playing really poor, like you can't wait for it to come around, like and regroup, innit? Yeah. You know,
we need a rest. We need a rest. I think there's some of with the injuries and niggles that we got, we do need a rest. So, any points between now and the window is going to be important for the international window.
Yeah, Wales KTF. 3-2 tomorrow. McGuinness is going to score with 10 minutes to go. Give us a very nervous end to the game.
That wouldn't surprise me. That wouldn't surprise me.
It doesn't matter what the score is. It's going to be a nervous end to the game. It's going to be a nervous from minute 1 to minute 97, whatever it is.
Yeah. Well,
Hey, I still got nightmares of Tony Evans scoring twice for Birmingham against us when he left us in 79. Flipping out. Jeez.
Go on, Mark. You're saying something there. We round it up now. Go on.
If Mepham can score against us, then you watch McGuinness come up. Look at all the players that we listed earlier. That that Harris comes back and haunts us at Oxford. Let's hope it's not one of those nights tomorrow night. Bloody McGuinness hat trick is the last thing we want to see.
I think we got a few extra minutes. So just Ryan's back on. We need some good signings during the next transfer window, which is obviously going to come in the summer. So that all bounces back to whether we all think that Omar should be in charge. Should he keep us up? The thing is in the back of my mind there is whether we are ever going to bring in an experienced Championship manager if we decide to let Omar go. And I'm not too sure that Mr. Tan, unless he's going to change his makeup, and I mean the last one that we really had was Malky, wasn't there? I suppose.
Yeah. There's no plan. Yeah. That's the problem. There's no plan.
No,
unless there's no manager. I mean, my local team here. Pardon me while I get the bit of taste in my mouth. Nottingham Forest. They were the one team who had more managers than us at one point. I remember we went up there and Chris Hughton, I think it was his last game, lost his job. They stumbled across Cooper and his assistant, whose name I'm not going to mention, and now they've moved on to Nuno. They stumbled across a good manager. As Jonathan Davis has just said there, Warnock and McCarthy came after Malky. McCarthy you'd class as an experienced Championship manager. He's one of the few managers I actually wanted to go until Errol Bullitt, who had to go after the first 6 games this season. That's caused us so many problems. Is our start to the season where we dropped so many points. We're still playing catch up after that. If you take those games out of the way, I think we'd be in a much better position. So I think we've got to keep the faith. As I think Jamie said in the comments, we're all still going to be there. We'll all still be getting behind the team, and hopefully before the end of the season, we'll have some more joy to experience.
When skies are grey, John, isn't it? When skies are grey. I mean, you guys who follow the club, week in, week out, tip the hat to you because, you go everywhere with them. So I can see the pain that's seeping out of you there tonight, John. And it's understandable. I get it.
I got no qualifying football badges and stuff like that. But if I can see it, then all my mates who I go with, and we're all saying the same thing, can see it. Why can't Rizzler see it then? And he's not learning. He is not learning. This is what's getting me so frustrated. Repeating the same thing, hoping for a different result. It's a sign of insanity, isn't it? Flipping now, geez. Don't get it.
All I hope for tomorrow is if we do get in front, that I'm just praying that he didn't go to that defensive mindset for the last 20 minutes because it cost us the game on. I think I know Richard said he was happy he would have been happy with a point, or we deserved a point. But I thought we could have got 3 on Saturday. We could have.
I agree, Steve. I agree, Steve. You know what he said? Why he went to a back 5? Because Sunderland were playing with 4 up top. I thought, what's he on about? Sunderland were playing with 4 up top. He went to a 5. Nonsense, absolute nonsense.
But we've also got to remember that those 2 teams are right at the top of the league. And I've seen lots of people saying that today. That's fine. But we also can remember that Leeds are the top of the league and Portsmouth beat them yesterday. And that's the mindset we've got to install within our players. If Portsmouth can beat Leeds United, then we can beat teams like Sunderland, like Burnley. Why can't Cardiff City win those games?
And another thing as well, Stephen. Sorry, gents. If teams like flipping Bournemouth, Brighton, Brentford can establish themselves in the flipping Premier League, why can't Cardiff City, for crying out loud? Capital City of Wales, for crying out loud.
Yeah. That's uncanny, Jonathan, because I wrote down all those teams just a minute ago. I was about to say exactly the same thing. All of those teams we've competed with in the last 5 or 6 years, and they're all sat in the Premier League, and we're all sat wondering whether we're going to be in League One next season because we lack a plan.
Exactly. Yeah. There's no 1-year plan. There's no 2-year plan. And like I says to the younger generation of fans, I've seen it. It won't be a shock to me or you other guys, right? But if we do get relegated, it took us 18 years. I remember when Durban took us down twice. It took us 18 years to get back to the second division, I still call it, to the second division. 18 years. And I could see it happening again. I really can. I hope I'm wrong, but... And it's been biggest clubs got relegated.
I agree with Jamie again. It's not over until the fat lady sings. We were all there, 1996, wasn't it? We only had Scarborough and Torquay underneath us. I think we're in a better position then. And I've got to disagree with you a little bit, John. I love being in the Championship. It's a decent league. You get proper teams with proper fans. Not going to these tourist spots. When I went to Anfield the first time, the first local accent I heard was a bloke selling me a cup of tea in the ground, full of tourists. Manchester United, Liverpool.
Oh yeah,
I'm not interested.
I prefer the Championship, Steve. Don't get me wrong, but I'm just using those other clubs as a. How can they do it and we can't? That's the point I'm trying to make. They must be doing something right.
Keep positive, John. I'm going to leave you with this thought, gentlemen. You make me happy when skies are grey. Keep the faith.
How much I love you. Please don't take my Cardiff away.
It's great to have Frank Sinatra on the show tonight. Thanks, boys. It's been a stack of fun, and we'll do it again soon. Steve's back here next week, but keep the faith, and let's hope for 3 points tomorrow.